Well, it's always great to spend a little bit of time with Charlie Appleby talking about his horses for the Breeders' Cup. And Charlie, you have a select team this year. I'll spin through them one by one. But first of all, can I just ask how they all travelled over? Are they settled in as well as you'd want?
Yeah, no, travelled in great. Obviously, I just got in last night, saw them first time this morning. The team were here and happy the way they settled in quarantine and come out of quarantine. I saw them first thing this morning. They look great. So they've shipped well. They've done all the vitals are good.
Let's start with Military Code in the Juvenile turf.
He's a horse that he's got a bit to find on the book. We've been lucky with the draw there. As long as I say, it's all very well having these draws, as long as you can use them. So it's no good having a stall two and coming out last. But he's a horse that just reminds me at home very much of like a Mischief Magic, who, again, wasn't really on page good enough to win a juvenile sprint. But I just felt the run style could just suit him, and I think he's a similar type of horse. You know, like the more trouble he's in round there, the better, as long as he can just find the gaps late on.
Now, Notable Speech is seen by many as one of the best chances for Europe in the Breeders' Cup Mile. He's a horse who's had a bit of experience in Canada now, and he comes here off a lighter season this year in comparison to when he came here last year. How important is that for him?
First of all, yeah, like I said, he started off his 3-year-old campaign as an unraced 2-year-old. You know, he went from running in January right through to obviously November here. So yes, he had a long campaign, and as much as we were happy with the way the horse came over here last year, I just felt that he hadn't got the experience that was needed against taking on the older horses on this track. Obviously, this season has been one of those sort of seasons that have been a bit frustrating with him. He probably could have pinched one or two more. But anyway, put that behind us. Was very keen to go to Woodbine, especially being on the inner track there. You know, he went there and did what we expected. And but most importantly, I say, just gave him a little freshener of those turns. And so therefore he comes here. He's drawn well again. As long as we can utilise that draw, and I feel he'll be a big player.
I just want to ask you one question about him, and I say this as a fan of the horse. As we step out the way, you might recognise the horses behind you.
I wish I didn't.
The thing I wanted to ask you about Notable Speech was about getting out of the gates. Now, I think if he has a clean run and no trouble, he's good enough to win. But the one issue I have worried about him is he can be sluggish. He was sluggish at coming out the gates in the race last year here at Del Mar and also at Woodbine. Is that a concern for you at all and for William?
Yeah, of course it is, yes, for sure. And it's one of those things, you know, he's getting a bit long in the tooth now to a level to start sort of trying to teach him more and more gate speed. The one thing with him is how well he travels, and so therefore, you know, when he does land, it's not like he lands and Will's going to have to be trying to push him along to try and get a position. You know, when he lands, he'll travel, so that will allow William to hopefully find some gaps so he can get himself into a posse where hopefully coming off that last turn that we've got ourselves a bit of a run in or something to run at and a bit of room to run with as well.
Yeah. With a clear run, you think he wins?
Look, I think he's, as you say, he's one of the class horses in the race. He's got experience. He's a past Guineas winner. Yes, of course, he comes here as hopefully one of our big hopefuls.
But he might not be your favourite horse in your team, because the next race we'll talk about is the Breeders' Cup Turf, where you've got El Cordobés, but primarily you've got the Great Rebels Romance. How's he, and what do you think of his chances up against Minihall? Yeah,
look, he's in great form. He's a horse that hopefully when we're his age, we've still got the same enthusiasm to get up in the morning.
I'm already his age.
But, yeah, as we've seen out on the track just now, you know, he dragged Mark Brown. He says he feels great. He's done everything as always coming into this meeting, you know, being pitch perfect. You know, of course, yes, he's the old boy in amongst them, and I've always sort of said there's going to be younger legs, unfortunately, are going to sort of take his title going forward. But what he's got you know, over those horses is experience, and you can't beat that round here. We pitched in one, that doesn't worry me. Really, I was one of those, you know, people were sending me the draws through when I landed yesterday, and when it came to that race, I was relaxed. I wasn't too worried. I mean, of course, it's a mile and a half. I've said all that, and we'll probably end up getting boxed in and not get a run. But I mean, look, he's a horse that.
Could Will try and make the running on him?
I leave that entirely up to Will. You know, there's one horse I don't give him instructions with, and that's well, I try not to give him too many instructions. It is because, like I say, once they're on their backs and those gates open, it's you know, every man for themselves, and so it's no good me tying William down to instructions. But he could make the run in. If there's a gallop on, which I can see, he could just hopefully sit box seat. Look, more importantly, he's here. The racing public love him. We love him, obviously, and you know, he's enjoying it. And so therefore, I do feel he's going to put up a, you know, put it to him anyway. They know they've had a race once they've got past him.
El Cordobas has improved enormously this season, having sort of started off in handicaps back in Dubai.
Yeah, he's a horse that we'd always sort of liked, but he was a bit disappointing in the early part of his career for us. But physically, he's done well. What he's gained in experience, obviously at Saratoga and Aqueduct, again, it pays round here, especially at this meeting. You know, he might not be the best horse in the race, but he can get round those turns and he loves quick ground. So, you know, he's ticked that box a couple of times now. Again, like I say, I feel that there'll be pace on in the race. He's a horse that probably is better coming from off the pace. And young Billy's on board, and hopefully he'll give him a good spin round there.
You've got Billy in action as well, with William on the 2 fillies in the filly and mare turf. It's a little bit like the female version of David and Goliath, you know, Cinderella's Dream, and then the huge Diamond Rain. And I must admit, watching Diamond Rain run earlier in the season at Haydock, I did not think I would see her ending up at Del Mar to run in a race at the Breeders' Cup.
Well, yeah, well, we've got to watch it, yeah, and see how we get on. But look, like you say, they're 2 interesting fillies. When you see them walk out of the barn together, like I say, it's a David and Goliath sort of scenario. But firstly, Cinderella's Dream. Again, she comes here in great form. I don't think she's been any better in respects to her well-being and physically. You know, okay, people might have been a bit disappointed on that last run there at Newmarket, but it was on slow ground. It was like a mile, which we always know is a minimum trip, taking on some proper milers. But more importantly, the way she came out of the race, you know, she really was one of those fillies, because she's so valuable to us in the barns there when she does retire there, that, you know, had she have not shown us what she's shown us, she wouldn't have been coming here. But couldn't have been any happier with her. And again, she takes so much experience into the race on these tracks that you'd be very confident that she's going to run a big race. Diamond Rain, on the other hand, like I say, she's a big old girl there. She blew the turn really at Woodbine, and that was on the outer track. So yeah, people did sort of raise their eyebrows when I said, look, we'll have a crack at it with her. We've done a little bit of schooling at home there on a tightish track. The one thing she's done is she has sharpened up. Mentally, she's sharpened up. Now, it's going to be, you know, she's going to have to be on her A game and sort of hopefully hit the lids well enough that she can land and give herself a chance early doors to sort of just get into the race. But if she sort of gets into a nice rhythm round there and from sort of the last sort of, you know, from halfway, she'll run a race, because she will stay and she'll hit the line strong.
Can I ask you finally, sort of a 2-part question? One horse that you think will win for you, and one horse that you want to win the most out of all the team, which I think I might know the answer to.
Yeah, obviously, look, the win the most is obviously Rebels. It'll be great for him, but first and foremost, great for ourselves and his Iron Sheikh Mohammed and Team Godolphin. And I think Breeders' Cup will enjoy it, you know. He'll have exactly, history, but more importantly, like I say, he's one of those horses which we don't see a lot in flat racing. Has gained a bit of a fanfare behind him, which is, you know, well deserved. Winner-wise, I'm a big fan of Cinderella's Dream at the moment, but we'll see.
Charlie, as always, thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of the week.
Richie, thanks ever so much.
Cheers, thank you.
Bye, buddy.